Is that a thing with
It
outside
kind of
surgery?
depends how gone it is and what you're willing to do to get it back. So like a lot of my content is about
Anything.
a lot of my content, well, not all, I guess, a significant amount of my content started to be about that because that's one of the main reasons I stopped taking a lot of gear is because I had a shit ton of hair loss. And for me, it was like that trade off wasn't worth it to really push the dosages anymore. And I found I could maintain a very good physique, which wasn't that far off from where I was at the time, to be honest, with next to nothing like TRT dosages. So for me, it was like, as far as getting your hair back, it depends how aggressive it is and what you're willing to do to get it, like I said. But yeah, you can in a lot of cases. For some people, it's like you're kind of delaying the inevitable, but for some people, it's at the end of the day, the being alive, you're kind of like just delaying dying to begin with. So
Mhm.
it's like whatever you can do, even hair, it's basically
That's
like,
a fun way to look at it.
yeah, because hairs are just organs too. So trying to maintain the longevity of them, it's like some people think it's just, you're prolonging the inevitable, but it's like, yeah, you're prolonging the inevitable of anything on this earth. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
maybe that's a weird way to put it, but I mean, for most people, they should be able to stave it off long enough to go the majority of their life with much better hair than they would otherwise.
So your hair went way back, I assume, and then you hopped off it and it just started creeping back forward like a hairline, or is it thick and thinness of the hair where you just like was wispy but the same hairline?
Yeah, let me pull up a before. I actually don't know if I'm gonna be able to send it here. In that Connor Murphy video, I actually showed my before at one of my worst points actually. And I don't know if can I send a picture in this
Yeah,
thread
you can
here?
just drag it.
Biceps are just outrageous.
Which one are we talking about? Connor
Just one of
Murphy?
these photos of Connor's 2016 physique. So he's just like chiseled out of marble.
which one is it? Can you help me find the one you like?
It's blue shorts, like halfway down the page of the article that Derek linked. Blue standing in front of the sign that says Zara.
Okay, I'll look for that.
So there's a screenshot from that
Oh, yeah.
video.
Oh yeah.
Oh wow, yeah, that was definitely thinning up.
And it's like this is the same wall that before picture is. So a lot of people they'll look at it and say, "Oh, the lighting is different." Like that's all it is. And I've been in the same fucking video frame for about 4 years now, so I think it's pretty obvious to tell if it's getting worse or not. And
So what brought it back? Was it just going off of the gear, or did you have to do something to bring it back?
so that's a lot of my experimentation sort of I found it intersected really well with bodybuilding. Some like the pharmacology, just like the study of drugs essentially, sort of intertwined with the bodybuilding scene really well. So as I kind of like delved into both, I sort of learned about both simultaneously throughout my YouTube. And some of the stuff that brought it back really well was like I've tried so like traditional stuff, like there's finasteride, I'm sure you guys have heard of.
Mhm.
There is I don't know if you've heard of ketoconazole shampoo before. That's like an over-the-counter shampoo that's less risky than finasteride, and it works pretty well, or it works okay anyways. Minoxidil is another one I'm sure you guys have heard of.
That one I've heard of.
I don't use that personally, but that's another one that's really effective. Something called RU58841. It's like an experimental chemical that I've sort of, I guess, become known for my use of it because I've been using it since like the start of my YouTube posting, and that's helped quite a bit for me too. And then honestly, there's like a whole bunch of other shit that listing it out would kind of be, I feel like, boring for people watching.
How fast does it work? Right? Like sometimes I find any kind of drug trial, like to see what works, whatever. Like it takes so long, it's hard to tell if it did anything, right? Like if you used a shampoo for whatever a year before you saw any results, it's subtle, it's slow, how do you test it? Did you go 6 weeks and see what it did?
So it's like the life cycle of a hair is quite a while, actually. It's like several months. So typically to see if a treatment works, you have to, like what I do, it sounds fucking stupid, but anyways, let me just give me a sec here to elaborate. I have this like a hair catcher in my shower, and you can see visibly how much hair falls out of your head each shower. So instead of waiting to see cosmetically, is my hair getting worse or better, I look at this catcher thing. Am I losing more hair or less hair? And then when I do a new treatment or I like do an experiment or whatever, I come off of whatever I was using. I wait for what can happen when you come off is you have a shedding phase, which kind of is like anytime you have a hormone fluctuation, you can call it a shed without getting too off track. Anyways, you wait for that to finish. And then I would introduce the new whatever I'm using and then try that for several months, assess the hair catcher thing, as well as obviously look in the mirror. But I mean, that can take months. Like, obviously, even for somebody who's balding, it takes years before they visually see it in a mirror. So for me, by looking at this hair catcher, I can kind of gauge, am I losing more hair, less hair? Are the hairs becoming miniaturized, which is like if a hair follicle is getting damaged, essentially, the hairs get smaller and skinnier rather than what is called a terminal hair, which is like a healthy, long, like dark, thick hair. So it's like a little shitty, like skinny, wispy white thing is like, it's dying kind of thing. And yeah, I kind of just like assess that. I do like before and after comparisons, and then I'll post a video or whatever and say if I think this thing is worth doing or not. Yeah, it's just been like trial and error for years, to be honest.
What do you do with the women in your house? Send them to another shower? Because that would fill my hair catcher. It's those it's the girls. Just like that's where the hair comes
I just
from.
have like a little thing, and then after I shower, I just like pick it up and I like look at it, and if it's like
okay,
rather than it being, it's not like I individually count them in or anything like that, but you can just
that would be crazy.
You would think that's crazy. But anyway, so I just like look at the fucking thing and say, okay, is there way more than usual? And yeah. And
all right,
you can kind of you get a good gauge,
So I've got a question. I have some regrets. I made a tweet about you, and it said something close to, hey, is this like the perfect male body or is it too much? Paraphrased. And afterwards, I was like, what an asshole. My sense of self is that I'm just an idiot that everyone ignores, right? But I don't know how many people follow me on Twitter, like 180,000 or something like that. And it's like, he didn't ask for all these people to have an opinion on him. So first of all, I'm sorry. But second,
that's okay.
How did that go for you? What did you think of the tweet, of the reactions? Like, did it bug you? You okay?
Did you watch my video I put up?
Yeah, I did. But that is your public persona, right? That's a control.
Like my staged version, you mean?
Yeah, you could say that, right? But you might have been at home like, fuck, what a dick.
Honestly, a lot of people, that was honestly my real reaction. Like for me, when somebody sees your physique in the gym with the downlighting and the pictures like sharpened and shit,
and you dried out.
You can see when I'm sitting here, I don't look as fucking ridiculous as I might in my pictures or even some of my videos where I have a tank on or whatever. And you know what I mean? It's like just the perception of what somebody's seeing at the time is not really representative of what you look like walking around on the, every day. So
yeah,
I've seen this stuff for so long now that I'm realistic, that I know when somebody says like, ooh, that's fucking disgusting, I know if they saw me in real life, they wouldn't say the same thing. And even if they did, I wouldn't really care, to be honest.
And it wouldn't just be fear. They'd believe it.
Yeah, they would know for sure. I remember like it was probably a couple years ago now that Chiz suggested we do a bit where we all bought minoxidil, and we were going to do like Chiz and Kyle Chiz and Kyle were going to be like, I'm going to apply a bunch of minoxidil to my face, get my beard growing thicker. And she was either Chiz or Kyle was like, Taylor, you buy